Hi, I'm Tam Wing Hong and my student ID is S4081116. In regard to the issues you mentioned, I'll be addressing them. When it comes to bank investing in your company rather than be a lender of funds, there are factors for them to take into consideration. Firstly, LT Skin Limited is a startup with no sales or potential customers, confirmed, meaning it's a high risk for the bank to invest in. Banks typically provide secure loans rather than taking equity positions in businesses, so they will have some of your assets to fall back on. Considering LT Skin have 1.2 million monthly cash burn and no revenue, you would need continuous funding to survive. Thus, the bank would need strong assurances of financial stability before considering investment. So it is unlikely that the bank would be prepared to invest directly in LT Skin Limited. I would say there are pros and cons for you if the bank invested in LT Skin Limited. Firstly, LT Skin wouldn't have to worry about loan repayments while still burning 1.2 million per month. LT Skin Limited would have a stronger financial position, as having a bank as an equity investor could enhance credibility and financial stability, making it easier to attract other investors. They will also be motivated to support the company's success rather than focusing on short-term loan repayments. However, downsides are the delusion of ownership reducing your influences over key decisions. There will be lower future profits for founders, as the bank will take a share of future profits rather than just receiving interest on a loan. So I would say that the bank investing in LT Skin Limited rather than a lender would likely be a better outcome in the short term, but not necessarily in the long term. I think LT Skin Limited should prioritize bringing in a second venture capitalist rather than replacing the existing one. This is because there will be more funding without delays, as a second venture capitalist can inject capital without the complications of negotiating an exit for the current venture capitalist. Also, having two venture capitalists reduces reliance on a single investor, providing more stability and strategic input. Replacing the current venture capitalist could be time-consuming and uncertain, whereas adding another VC allows LT Skin to focus on growth with less risk of disrupting operations. So in general, it makes more sense to have two venture capitalists in your case. Looking offshore for investors might be a good idea given the capital-intensive nature of biotech startups and the need for long-term funding. You will have access to larger biotech-focused funds, as offshore markets have more investors specializing in biotech, and they are often more willing to fund pre-revenue biotech startups. You will have stronger industry networks, as these investors often have connections with global pharmaceutical companies, research institutions, and commercial partners, which would help LT Skin commercialize its product. Some offshore investors may offer favorable funding conditions than local investors. So I would say you should explore offshore investors, especially those with biotech expertise. I would say that governance and director behavior is just as important or even more important than profit and shareholder returns. Firstly, good governance ensures long-term stability that help prevent legal risk, fraud, and mismanagement that could destroy shareholder value. Poor governance can drive investors away, even if short-term profits are strong, as investors need to trust the leadership. Governance failures can damage the company's reputation, making it harder to attract new investors, partners, and customers. Companies with strong governance tend to perform better in the long run because they are strategic, ethical, and well-structured decisions. Therefore, without good governance, even the most profitable company can fail. If the directors misbehave, there will be a loss of investor confidence, which will result in them to pull their funding. Legal and regulatory consequences which could lead to lawsuits and fines or shutdowns. When reputation is damaged, it will be harder to attract investors and partners. Lastly, if there are financial or legal trouble, LT Skin Limited could face insolvency. So yes, it is a major risk to LT Skin if the directors misbehave. Even if the company makes substantial sales, Fatima has breached her duties under the Companies Act. She should not have approved the 20% discount without obtaining the necessary board approval, where under Section 157, Part 1 of the Companies Act, the director must act honestly and use reasonable diligence in their duties. Accepting the Trump coins as gift could be perceived as a conflict of interest. Under Section 156 of the Companies Act, directors have to disclose any direct or indirect interest in transactions involving the company. Fatima accepting the Trump tokens may fall under the Prevention of Corruption Act. Under the Prevention of Corruption Act, both giving and receiving gratification to influence business decisions are offenses, punishable by fines. In conclusion, her actions not only breach her fiduciary duties, but may also violate Singapore's anti-corruption law. So that's all. Thank you.